Starbucks, a global coffee giant, has faced turbulent times in recent years. The company, once hailed for its steady growth and innovation, has now cycled through 4 CEOs in under 4 years. It's also grappling with its steepest revenue decline in over a decade, not counting the effects of the pandemic. In this documentary, we'll explore Starbucks' remarkable rise to dominance, the internal challenges that have come with its success, and whether its complex orders and corporate instability might lead to yet another return of its iconic former leader, Howard Schultz. Before we go on, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. It's one of the best ways you can support the channel and help others find this video. The journey of Starbucks begins in 1971, in the heart of Seattle. Back then, it wasn't a cafe but a simple store selling freshly roasted coffee beans. Seattle locals quickly embraced the high-quality beans, and even as coffee prices spiked in 1975, Starbucks managed to expand within the city. A key turning point came in 1981, when a curious visitor arrived at their Pike Place Market location, Howard Schultz. At the time, Schultz was the general manager for Starbucks' filter supplier. What struck him about Starbucks wasn't just their beans, but the rich, European-style coffee they were brewing, something quite different from the weak drip coffee that was the American standard. Schultz became fascinated with the business and joined Starbucks in 1982. A trip to Italy the following year inspired him to push Starbucks toward a bold new direction, offering coffee by the cup, just like the bustling espresso bars of Milan. Schultz envisioned Starbucks as a place where people could gather and enjoy their coffee in store. Despite initial resistance from the company's founders, who wanted to stick to selling beans, Schultz eventually persuaded them to open an espresso bar in 1984. It was an immediate success. However, as Schultz continued to advocate for a cafe-centered model, tensions with the founders grew. In 1985, Schultz left Starbucks to start his own coffee company, Il Giornale. By 1987, Il Giornale was doing so well that Schultz was able to buy out Starbucks, setting the stage for the rapid expansion that followed. Under Schultz's leadership, Starbucks grew exponentially. By 1990, there were 84 stores. 5 years later, that number had ballooned to 677, and by the turn of the millennium, Starbucks had over 3,500 locations around the globe. Schultz wasn't just known for expanding the brand, he also earned a reputation as a progressive leader. Advocating for fair wages and health care for employees, Schultz made Starbucks a model of socially responsible business. However, in 2000, Schultz stepped down as CEO, handing control to Orrin Smith, and later to Jim Donald. Donald's push for rapid global expansion proved ill-timed. Cheaper competitors like McDonald's and Dunkin' Donuts gained ground, and by late 2007, as the financial crisis loomed, Starbucks stock had fallen by 50%. In 2008, Schultz returned to steer the company out of trouble. His focus was clear: Starbucks needed to reclaim its status as a premium brand. He slowed down the company's global expansion, shuttered underperforming stores, and concentrated on offering a high-quality experience that customers would be willing to pay for. The strategy worked. By the early 2010s, Starbucks was back on a growth trajectory, and by 2019, its market value had skyrocketed to nearly $100 billion, with over 37,000 stores worldwide. Despite this success, leadership changes continued. In 2017, Schultz stepped down once again, leaving the company in the hands of Kevin Johnson. Johnson's tenure saw a further push into China, but the COVID-19 pandemic and China's strict lockdowns brought new challenges. In 2022, Johnson abruptly resigned, and Schultz returned as interim CEO before handing the reins to Laxman Narasimhan in 2023. Narasimhan's leadership was short-lived, with the board replacing him with Brian Niccol, former CEO of Chipotle, after just a year. The question remains, what went wrong for Starbucks? Some of the blame falls on external factors like inflation, pushing consumers toward cheaper options, and competition from rising Chinese coffee chains like Luckin Coffee. Others point to political issues, such as an ongoing boycott by pro-Palestinian activists, though these factors are often overstated. Yet, one of the most significant issues Starbucks faces comes from within: The complexity of their menu has grown exponentially, with nearly 400 million possible variations of a Starbucks latte alone. While these customizations bring in additional revenue, they've also created operational challenges. Longer wait times and fewer interactions between baristas and customers have made it harder for Starbucks to maintain its premium image. The company has responded by encouraging mobile orders, but this has shifted the Starbucks experience from a cafe-style gathering place to more of a quick service model, with 3/4 of orders now made via drive-thru, mobile, or delivery. This shift has left Starbucks with expensive real estate that is increasingly underused. The challenge now for Nicole, or whoever might take over next, is to balance the need for operational efficiency with maintaining the brand's image as a premium in-store experience. As the company continues to evolve, one thing remains certain: the road ahead for Starbucks is as complex as its menu. And as history has shown, if things don't turn around soon, Howard Schultz could once again step out of the shadows to reclaim the helm.